Welcome back, players. I'm Jack with 36 Cancel, and my team recently went to the Teams Regionals in New Jersey. Today, I'm going to recap our experience, but this will be a bit different, as most of the reporting will come in the form of small blurbs and post-matchup vlogs that we took during the tournament and our activities while we were there. I'll intersperse these with some afterthoughts and comments to connect some of these moments, but I hope you folks enjoy this slightly different style of tournament recap. And we'll start off with a little pre-tournament recording we took during the car ride up on Saturday morning. What's going on, players? Jack with 36 Cancel. We are on the road, headed to Springfest in Newark, New Jersey. Now we're coming in Saturday. Tournament for Weiss is not actually till Sunday, but we're heading in. We're going to have some fun in New York City. Going to eat some good food, see some cool people, and on Sunday we're going to get wrecked. Now, we have a team of 3. Our team is currently what's considered the trifecta, just by coincidence. Me on Mistook with Tensei, Yume over here on Hololive, and Spiced Wifers over on Standby Slime. So, let's start with you, Yume. How are you feeling about your Hololive deck? Why'd you pick it? What are you afraid of?
I'm feeling great. I'm playing the Choice Door Hololive build with Marine top end and Corone level 1. My deck's pretty good. I think my deck actually generally has a 55% win rate against most decks, probably, in terms of like perfect players. But I added a lot of cool tech to my deck. I added the level 1 Marine, so I can guarantee a reverse on most level 1s, including Mushoku. So that might swing a lot of matchups my way, just because sometimes you can't get the reverses on Corone, but it should be pretty good otherwise. Yeah, we were playtesting about a week ago in person. Your Marine did give my heiresses a little trouble, so that's definitely something Mushoku players have got to watch out for if they face you. What about you, Spiced Wifers?
I'm going with 8 Standby Slime, you know, the Millum package, because, you know, gotta play best girl. The deck I'm not looking forward to is the 8 Standby Mishoko. But it's, you know, the classic, you know, Rimuru, Swept Along Rimuru level 1 combo with the Millum Benimaru top end.
Yeah, I mean, that Drago Buster top end's pretty violent, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna get enough stock and just play 2 of them hard, right?
Yeah, gonna try.
I mean, that's the way to do it. Me going last, I am obviously on Mushoku Tensei. I'm running the very generic build with a few, I guess you'd say, doubling down on a few like 1-ofs, like I've doubled down on the rest counter just because I hate getting screwed out of it. I'm playing a few other counters that some people don't play. I'm playing the 1-0 as a 1-of, the 2-1 anti-change, because I am a little afraid of Hololive's early plays and I don't want to get leveled down by that Ayame and totally get screwed out of my board. But we'll see how it goes. We are a team of 3. We're playing the trifecta. We are the slimy Standby Pirates. So look forward to seeing us in Newark, and we'll hit you up again when we're in New York and possibly in the hotel room. We'll see. And we'll tell you more about how the tournament goes for us. Thanks for tuning in. So not long after this, we made it to our hotel, but despite calling, they wouldn't let us check in early, so we sat in the lobby/dining area and played some practice games. After we did check in, we went to the Newark Airport Hotel where the regionals were hosted and checked out what the venue looked like. Now, unlike previous regionals, this was all Vanguard Day 1, with Weiss being held on Day 2 or Sunday. Now, I'd been here before years ago, and from what I remember, not much changed. The room was quite large, but unfortunately quite crowded. One of the biggest things that surprised me was that I expected there to be a lot more social distancing measures, but aside from masks being required to be inside the actual tournament space, everything was just like a Weiss Regionals before COVID, which, while extremely fun, did have their issues. In other news, there was only one vendor the entire regionals, and to my understanding, they didn't deal in Weiss in any major way. Even the singles case where you'd look for shinies and some chase double Rs was basically empty both days. While they did have a decent bit of sealed product, this was mostly for Vanguard, though they did have a fair selection of general TCG supplies. And as someone who will bring a lot of my spares to sell at a low price to a vendor's buying team, when I come to a regionals in hopes of grabbing some spare spending money, which many people do, their buy list was basically a non-starter, and my expectations were pretty low to begin with. I really hope for the next regionals I attend, they have more vendors and different ones that focus more on Weiss 4s. I can't speak for how satisfied Vanguard players were with them, so if they were better for you Vanguard players out there, good on them. Anyway, now there were some other handy amenities offered by this venue. For one thing, there was a small food stand that sold combos of drinks, sandwiches, and chips for a price that actually wasn't outrageous for an airport hotel, which would have been great for players looking to refuel between matches. The venue also had free cold water with cups, which was honestly huge, and I was super appreciative of this all day. As for the hotel itself, it was pretty convenient that you could stay in the same hotel as the tournament, but we decided not to as there were many hotels within minutes of the venue that had much better rooms at quite literally half the price. And we were pretty satisfied with the one we chose. So once we left the menu, we were able to go directly into the airport proper and immediately buy tickets to ride into New York City on the New Jersey Transit. We walked into the city to visit a really cool Japanese and weeb-focused book and hobby store called Kinokuniya, which was a great little distraction. They have an in-store cafe where we refreshed and moved on to our dinner reservations at a place called Wagamama. This is an awesome Asian fusion place in the middle of NYC, and it was super enjoyable. Due to an unforeseen abundance of alcoholic drinks, I failed to grab any footage of our experience here. After that, we grabbed some boba tea from one of the coolest vendors in the city, and we went back to the hotel to crash for the night. The morning of the tournament, we ate some hotel breakfast and prepped for an exciting day of gameplay. We were rocking myself as player A, piloting Mushoku Tensei, Spiced Wafers as player B on Standby Slime, and Yume as player C with Korone/Marine Hololive. You can find all of our deck lists below in the description. But now I want to transition back into those vlogs as we did our match recaps between each round and talked about how we did. All right, we are coming at you with the post-round 1 report. We are in the exhibit room for the hotel, just kind of went somewhere quiet after round 1. We are unfortunately X1, so I went up against a 4-bar, 4 standby Hololive build, running the level 1, what's her name? Nico combo, and the level 3 Sora, I guess. That's it. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know my Hololive. I felt very in control the whole game, just kind of smashed his board over and over. And came down to it, he was 3-6, and I pretty much had him dead on board, but the last card in his deck was the climax he needed, and then he top decked into a 1k1, and I was 3-0, and I took 8 off the top, but it happens, you know? I don't think I misplayed. I don't think he misplayed either. It was just a game. So I'm not, like, disappointed or anything. We can still cut in from X1. So how about you guys? How about you, Spiced Wafers?
I played, 8 standby slime versus Mushoku Tensei, like I called it, that I was going to be playing Mushoku. But this was the Rougier build. So I honestly, when he dropped it, I was not afraid due to knowing what the Rougier does versus the amount of walls I can build versus it. Sadly, our game did go to time, but per the rest of the match, our game was called due to not being relevant.
Yeah, so spoiler alert. Now your turn, Yume.
Oh boy, my game went dog. Turn 1, I immediately canceled twice, but I'm already out 3. So I triggered once, I have 2 in my hand, and I canceled twice. So I'm immediately out all 5, turn 1. So I immediately milled through my whole deck, and I still have a huge advantage throughout the whole game. So I'm at 2-5, 2-3, 2-4, and he's at 3-4. The problem is, I had 10 cards left in my deck. I just triple swinged, and I was like, I can't. There's no shot. I hit both my climaxes left in a 10-card deck. Hits both. He burns me for 4 the first time. I'm like, okay, you know what? Fine. I have 2 cards left in deck. He decides to burn 4 again, and he doesn't get punished for it. So I just lose.
And I'm sorry, what did you play?
I played against 8-choice Data Life.
8-choice Data Life. Okay. And he used the Kurumi to burn 4.
Yeah.
Gross. All right. Well, we are X1. We're gonna cut in. Don't worry about it. And we're gonna swing back. We're gonna get some fresh air, get some drinks, and come back for round 2. All right, they just announced a pairing, so we are going to very quickly report on round 2. We are 1-1. We played against the ever-famous Burn 1. It was a close match, but we got it out. I was playing Mushoku, obviously. My opponent was actually playing Ruby. Got some pretty unlucky climax triggers near the end of the game, but I did get him. How about you, Spiced?
I played against Rougier Hololive. The guy didn't cancel a lot during the thing, but he got me stuck at level 1 for like 4 turns, and in the end, he just didn't have the hand to stop 2 Millims with a Drago Buster in the wings.
There it goes. You?
I played against Kit Kang himself.
You did.
Played against 8 standby Mushoku. Generally, the matchup is quite literally who's luckier. After playtesting with Jack, it's literally 50-50 for the most part, as long as we both get what we need. In the end, he quite literally canceled every single turn at least once, usually twice.
As he does.
And he quite literally looked at me and said, yeah, I sacked that game really hard.
Hey, good games, turn 1. We look forward to seeing you at more tournaments. Good luck in your next rounds. Wish us luck on our next rounds, players. We are going for the X1 shoot.
Good luck.
A huge deal.
All right, we're back after round 3. We are 2-1 right now. I actually played against 8 Choice Day Live. I felt very in control of the game the entire way. Last turn, I had him at about a 95% mathematically dead, and he just got it. So that's unfortunate. But I was carried. How about you, Spice Wafers?
It was 8 Choice Adventure Time, and it was an interesting match, but he kept removing my high levels and putting level 0s in there, but the level 0s, he just kept giving me options of getting to dig through my deck and get other cards. In the end, he really couldn't do much against Benimaru and Dragon Buster front row.
Yeah, not many people can. How about you, Yume?
So I played against Door Standby Kaguya.
Oh no.
And most of the game went pretty good, actually really well for me for some reason, because obviously the level 0 game is a lot worse now. And one of the biggest things was I was at 2-5 and he had 2 Kaguyas out. And I canceled both of them. But he decided to burn me 1, so next turn I literally just clocked and just put out double Marine and just killed him. He just decided I wanted to die today.
He wants to die. All right, we're 2-1. We're going to go into round 4 and see what happens. See you next. So we are outside. It's another update. We're post round 5 now, but we did not do round 4 because unfortunately they're running a pretty tight schedule up there, and we just want to do some trades first. So we didn't get a chance to come out and do a recap of round 4. So we're going to do that now before round 5. Round 4, I played the Mushoku mirror. Unfortunately, he opened with the God Hand and I didn't. And that's just kind of how it went, unfortunately. We played a pretty close game. But at the end, I also kind of lost some hard RNG, and in a 4-card deck, 5-card deck, 3 climaxes, didn't draw any to finish the game, unfortunately. I had the climax swapper. Just happens, you know? So I lost that one. And round 4, what did you guys play against, Spice Wifers?
It was the Hololive Rushia build. It is just a bad matchup for me in general. It's same as usual. A very strong game, but that 8 cards back in the deck is really devastating for Standby Slime.
Mm-hmm. You may?
I played 4 standby 4 choice Quince with the 2/2 Itsuki with the back row Futaro weird thing. The one that like Futaro gives 3k power plus on play when you play this specific Itsuki, you gain one blind stock. The game was generally pretty easy. My deck does pretty well against standby because it doesn't care if it's bigger than everything, because if it dies, at least it's in my waiting room to grab again.
Right. So that's round 4. We were then 2-2. We wanted to see if we could go into the X2 bracket just to break into a good placing. But we went into round 5 then. I played against Hololive Rushia this time. I had pretty good control the entire match. Unfortunately, again, kind of at the end there, I got into this really weird position where I drew a bunch of non-playables. I couldn't attack 3 times, and I couldn't mill my deck out, so he got me with the Rushia combo because I had no cards left, unfortunately. Just happens.
Then I went into mine with versus 8 standby Kaguya, and it was a solid game overall. Slime just built a wall, and Kaguya doesn't have the power anymore to be able to hit on it. Hit him with the highest Dragon Buster I've gotten so far with this deck. Hit him three off of it, but still just in the end wasn't enough to even with my walls just turn cards sideways, lose.
And I played against 8 standby Mushoku. In general, the matchup's actually really even, like I said. My deck doesn't care about standby. I seem to fight someone who's somewhat inexperienced because she doesn't know that in that specific matchup, Mushoku actually has to try and rush me with the 3/2 Galanes. She tried in the end, but I was like 2/2 and she was at 3/3 because I just kept healing and I was just super compressed for like the whole game. So that was pretty all right. It was fun. It was really fun. I mean, getting to meet new people was pretty cool, especially people that know us from the Discords.
For sure. Shout out to everyone in Lunchbox at Discord. We saw a lot of people there who attended, so awesome to see you folks.
It was fun. Wish there was a little bit more time between rounds. Sometimes it felt like we didn't have time to even use the bathroom.
No, not at all. Like, it's crazy. We're just post round 5. It's only 2 p.m. They actually started pretty much right at 10. We're doing 30-minute rounds with pretty much no breaks between the rounds. So it was really kind of a struggle sometimes because we're all in there. It's pretty packed. It's hot. We've all got pretty thick masks on. And without being like able to step out for air for like 5 minutes, it gets tough. I was getting kind of sweaty and kind of out of it for the last round.
I will say one thing though. This trip has been super fun with all the boys. You guys will see some B-roll right now of us going to New York City with Jack.
What?
Shit was super fun. So yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. We'll have more for you in post roundup. See ya. So yeah, we went 2-3. Not immediately scrubbing out was pretty neat though. After having some time to think about my games and how I did, I thought I played pretty tight. I only made one mistake that was obvious to me in my match against Ruby in round 2, but it was a card knowledge thing and you can't memorize them all. All those blue Ruby foils look the same, dude. In round 5, I did lose to Ruchia because I ended up in a deck state I couldn't escape from, and I might have been able to pilot better to have avoided that situation, but drawing a bunch of non-playables and climaxes 2 turns in a row didn't help either. That said, my record wasn't great. I felt very ahead and in control for 90% of the match, only to die from 3-0 on a compressed deck from basic attacks, or just taking hard losses on RNG with my opponent canceling, me triple triggering, or just drawing dead when it mattered at the end when I was pretty set up for success. The only game I felt like I really lost from behind was the Mushoku Mirror, but my opponent just kinda drew better than me and I missed several attacks, and in the mirror, that's how it goes. Oh well, you can't win them all. We still had a lot of fun, and I can't understate how awesome it was to play in person at a regionals again. As for other post-tournament thoughts, I will say that the round started very early and moved super quick. Registration was from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., and they jumped right into the tournament. Even after 5 rounds, by the time we were getting in some fresh air outside, it wasn't even 3 p.m. I really feel like there could have been a lot more breathing room in that schedule for players to rehydrate and, more importantly, get some fresh air. Nothing against wearing masks indoors at a tournament, but that space was very crowded, very hot, and very stuffy when you're wearing a mask. I was really sweating and a little lightheaded by round 5. I'd really like to see more room for gameplay in general, and a lot less emphasis on keeping things moving without breaks. We literally almost missed the start of round 3 because we were out of the room for 2 minutes after round 2. I can't say this enough, Bushi. Please give us more recovery time between rounds. It goes a long way into making the experience more enjoyable, and lets players go into each round with a fresh air and a clear head. To reiterate, it also would have been nice to see more dedicated Weiss vendors or shops on the floor. Now, as for our decks, we talked a lot about how they would change in a new, more Hololive dominant meta. One of the challenges we were facing was that with Hololive coming out only mid-month and being such a big set in the scene, we didn't have a ton of time to practice with or against it. I think there are a few adjustments I would have likely made if we hadn't had to lock in our deck list in such a small window between Hololive coming out and the tournament itself. Right now, my 2 favorite decks to play in tournament are Slime and Mushoku, and overall, I don't see that changing anytime soon. At least until the 8-choice Tokyo Revengers build becomes the best deck in the format. Now, what about the scene? So as I walked around the floor, I saw a lot of what you'd expect. I'd wager about 60% of the teams, from my experience that day, were playing Mushoku, Hololive, and a wildcard as their team comp. The Mushoku builds weren't terribly varied, obviously, and the widest stray from the expected list I saw was in round 1 where Wifers played against the build that ran the Rougier package at level 3. The Hololive builds, though, were all over the place. There was a lot of Ruchia, as expected, but you also saw a lot of top ends like Sora, Nene, Marine, Coco, and even a Kanata deck that I spotted. As for the winners, I know that the Sugu Shadow Dragons took first place with Bang Dream, Mushoku, and Hololive. The Hololive player played the Korone and Marine build, which was pretty much the exact build that our player Z ran. The Mushoku player was running a pretty aggro and stage presence focused Mushoku build, and the Bang Dream player played blue and yellow Morphonica. The rest of the top 8 were pretty varied actually, with Hololive only appearing at all in 5 out of 8 teams and MTI in 6 out of 8, with a decent mix of Slime, Bang Dream, Kaguya, and the one-ofs Ruby, Sunshine, Konosuba, and even Cardcaptor Sakura. Thank you to Weiss Tea Time for compiling this list so quickly. You should definitely check out their blog for more information on the tournament and Weiss news in general. But anyway, after the tournament, we went to New Jersey, treated ourselves to some celebratory sushi, and headed home. I want to thank Bushiroad's staff for all their hard work organizing this event, and all the players that came out and played Weiss with us. Congratulations to all the winners, and I'll be seeing a lot of you again real soon. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.